Hi there, Erica from Feel Your Core here. Thanks so much for joining us today. So if you like what we do here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified as soon as we have another video come out. We have 2 videos that come out every week. Today's video is going to be about working out while traveling, and we're doing it with resistance bands. So I have resistance bands without handles, the bands that are continuous, sometimes they're called pull-up bands, and then I have bands with handles. Either or, you can mix them. These are great because they take up hardly any space at all. You can throw them in a carry-on, you can throw them in your suitcase. And when we're thinking travel, and this can be, hey, I'm going hiking and camping for the weekend, and I just want to throw these in my duffel real quick. I can knock out a strength workout before I get going on my day. Maybe you're traveling somewhere in the world where they don't have a gym at where you're staying, or maybe one closed. And again, you don't want to get off of the routine, right? Because the routine and the consistency is really important for us hitting our goals. So you can always throw some bands in your suitcase and you'll be ready to go. Let's do this. Okay, so the first exercise that we're going to do is going to be dislocates. And then I'm going to take a dislocate into and around the world. So again, it's really good to have like a variety of bands. You pretty much know what's happening with these bands with the handles. But when it comes to like the bands that are like a full band or like what people call a pull-up band, you may have to play a bit with the resistance, right? Because even the lightest band may be like heavier than maybe your medium band, right? So you just want to play around with it, see what your body can do. For this particular one, I'm going to use a band with handles just because I like to put my hands through the handles there and then grab onto the edges because this is an exercise I like to use as a warm-up, okay? So right now at the very end of the band, and I'm able to, being at the very end of the band, I'm able to do this dislocate. Usually you probably see people doing dislocates when they're standing, but I actually like doing this one seated because there's just less play with like how I'm standing. I feel like I really have to stack my head on my shoulders, on my rib, on my pelvis, where maybe I can get away with a little bit more like rib popping if I'm standing, something like that. And then as I warm up, what I'm able to do is I'm able to just kind of cinch in on this band a bit. So the things I'm thinking about as I do this, I'm trying to keep my arms as long as possible. I'm trying not to break at my wrist. And again, I'm trying to keep my ribs in line with the ribs and the pelvis because sometimes when I'm a bit tight, I like to pop those ribs a little bit, right? So I'm trying to keep all of that in check. So those are your dislocates. So you can leave it there. And remember, if you're not yet ready for that much circumduction at the shoulder to get those arms behind you, don't go there. You're going to just keep going with as far as you can go with nice long arms, reaching space in that joint capsule. And then you are just going to keep coming back. And the more you do it, right, safely with nice breath and control, you'll get there. I was not able to do one at first either. And I was first taught with a dowel, right? So think of like a metal rod, wooden rod, broomstick, and that doesn't give any play. So if you're learning to do dislocates, doing it with a band is a great way to start. So next I'm going to go into what I like to call an around the world. So now I start the band in front of me, and now I'm just going to take it like kind of this diagonal piece around, and then the other one's going to follow me. Okay. I always know kind of how well I'm doing with this with how often I hit my ponytail. So that first one was, sister, you may want to stretch those arms a little bit longer as you do these, okay? And then, of course, because my whole entire life since I was a child, have been a monster over sweater. So, I got sweat marks in my pits. It's, it's life. It's real. It happens. If you get the struggle, join me, sister or brother, okay? All right, so this is what we're doing. We're just going around one way and back the other, and then I go around and then back. Again, another really good reason to use a band for this exercise because you have the play with, okay, I can scoot out, I can pull apart to make it longer while I'm still learning how to get this much movement, mobility within the shoulders, within good, there's a word I'm looking for. Form. That was the word, within good form. All right, so we're also using that as our warm-up. All right, join me for the next exercise. All right, so this next exercise is in quadruped, as you can see, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, a nice and neutral spine. We're not overly rounded, we're not overly arched, and we're going to work really hard using the abdominals to help us stay in this neutral, You guys all know that I like to go here as I get tired. We're gonna try to hold her together, all right? So in this quadruped position, we're gonna do, you probably know like Y's, T's, I's that you kind of sometimes do maybe in a chair or on a stability ball with a dumbbell, but we're gonna do it here with a weight, here with a band. I like to go wider band here because these get real fast, okay? So I'm gonna start out with the Y, so this is more of a scaption. So I'm gonna take it out here and I'm lowering. So the things that I'm thinking about, I'm gonna move over just a little bit. The things that I'm thinking about here is making sure I'm pushing the floor away, and then I'm thinking about reaching my bottom tip of my shoulder blade down, so scapular depression, and a little bit of scapular retraction as well. I'm thinking really a lot about that scapular depression because I am also kind of trying to get into those low traps here with this exercise. Woo. All right, and like I said, now I'm warm. I'm already warm. So using the abs, that always warms me up. I'm drawing them in and up away from this table or mat or floor. And then I'm coming up, giving a little hold, and then lowering with control. The reason I love bands, as well as the reason I love Pilates with spring work, is because you get to work both sides of the exercise if you choose to, right? So I'm pulling the resistance away, and then now I'm slowing that band down from wanting to just snap back. I'll do one more here and lower, okay? So that is that Y. So scaption about 30 degrees, okay? Not an I, not overhead, not a T out to the side, but right in the middle of those two, all right? And speaking of T, we're going right into that one next. You know I always like to work in external rotation. So my thumb is oriented up, but not from radius and ulna, not from lower arm, from humerus. And so from here again, I got my nice little break, and I'm gonna just reach out to the side. Inhale, exhale, lengthen, and reach, slowly returning home. Still trying to push that floor away through serratus anterior and lats on the standing arm side. I got a little weight in the feet as well, so my arm doesn't have to do all the work. Do about 3 more here. Exhale, reach. And when my breath gets heavy and I get quiet, it's getting challenging. And 2, good, and 1 more. I'm reaching, and that's it, okay? So you can do all of this on the other side, right? As you should. We wanna make sure both sides are equal. Another thing I love about these exercises today is that they take up a very small footprint, okay? So say you are, in a hotel room or, in a tent or something like that, you can do these exercises. You can do them pretty quietly. You don't have to disturb anybody else if maybe they're sleeping or reading or relaxing. You can just take your little corner and get these in. Let's move on to the next exercise. Okay, so third exercise. Now that our shoulders are all warmed up with our dislocates, our around the world, our Y's, and our T's, now we can go into a nice supported side plank. And so I use the continuous band here, and I just tied it in a knot. I'm trying to show you as many ways as we can, as my mother would say, make do, okay? We forgot our little smaller power systems band. We want to get in these clamshells, and so we're gonna make do. We're gonna figure it out. So just tie the knot in our little continuous band, put it around the legs. I'm gonna just turn it around here so that you don't have to see the knots. And we are going to get that elbow underneath the shoulder, thinking about pressing the ground away. And then I like to kind of think about isometrically pulling the forearm or elbow towards my rib cage. Remember, we want to be nice and long. So speed up a little bit here. I got to get these glutes engaged, so I'm getting a nice long line. And we're going to inhale, exhale. Here we are. We're in our side plank. So remember that we want to use a bit of glutes to get into hip extension, nice long line. And then from here come your clamshells. I like to keep my heels touching together, and then I like to think about pulling my legs apart. So I don't just think about lifting the top leg, I think about pressing the bottom leg away as I pull the top leg away. I also think of, it's not just like a lift lower, like a horizontal thing, which is why I have these heels together. I'm working an external rotation. So from thigh bone and hip socket, I'm externally rotating. I'm wrapping around as I lift, and that's on both sides. So even that bottom one, that I'm pressing down, I'm rotating to pull them apart. Let's go 4 more. 4, right? And remember, activate glutes to keep that hip extension. Last 2, and last 1. Look at us. We made it work, even though we didn't have our little smaller band. All right, so that is it for today. If you liked what you saw today, please give us a like. Hit that like button, thumbs up, and stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. You'll see when our next one comes up. This is part 1. I'll see you in part 2 next week. Bye.